is that they could see you coming. Like you are right at the end of the bus. Sometimes I'm like right at the back of the bus trying to get on the bus, and the bus driver will pull away. So those were things that really upset me about catching the bus. Are you really ready for this? And you're not even trying to fight for yourself. Yeah, I know. It wasn't your fault. You got to take some action. Today, I wanted to come on and talk about doing lifetime goals. And I just recently put out the episode about lifetime goals and long term goals, and how I now see the importance of having those type of goals. And as I was talking about in the podcast, I was sharing that how I used to have short-term goals. You have goals that you want, things that you want to see happen in your life, and most of the time it had to do with like New Year's resolutions. I make a New Year's resolution, and then hopefully you by the end of the year you've accomplished what you want to accomplish. Or sometimes there would be a goal, say, for to go to school and then finish school in 3 years, 4 years, however long the process is. But I've since learned, as I've gotten older, I would say I started in my 40s, I began to understand that in order to accomplish certain things in your life, especially things that you want to see happen, and a lot of times when you don't have a lot of resources, even though you have people who love you and they support what you want to do, but they can't really help you do it because they don't have the resources to help you to do it. So those had to become a more long-term goal that I set for myself. But it starts with being able to look at yourself and realize, what are the things that I want to see in my life. And a lot of times when you're looking at your life, you may not see it right then, and you say, I want better for myself. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling them, and this, I have nothing against people who ride the bus, but when I was younger, I used to have to catch the bus to college, and I had just gotten out of high school. And so one of the things, I didn't mind catching the bus, but what I used to hate for the life of me, I used to hate when the bus driver get off the bus and go sit and have their lunch. Now, I definitely believe that they should have a lunch break. That wasn't my issue. My issue is why you don't have another bus driver get on the bus and take us where we need to go. So we're sitting there for 30 minutes or however long they decide to have this lunch break. We're sitting on the bus waiting for them to finish their lunch break. Of course, they deserve a break. I believe every person at work should have a break. But that meant I wasn't going to get to where I needed to go in the time frame that I wanted to get there. And the other thing that used to annoy me about catching the bus was that a lot of times what would happen is that they could see you coming. Like you are right at the end of the bus. Sometimes I'm like right at the back of the bus trying to get on the bus, and the bus driver will pull away. So those were things that really upset me about catching the bus. And I purposed in my mind, and that was a life goal for me, that I prayed and I asked God, don't let me ever have to catch the bus for like going to work or having to get places. That I was going to work to try to get a car or my own transportation. And it happened that that year I was in nursing school. I was getting ready to start nursing school. And that summer I had started nursing school, and my parents had let me hold their car for like the first 2 or 3 weeks. But she told me after that I was going to have to catch the bus. And I lived about 20 or 30 minutes away from the school, and the school was downtown Miami. So you all that live in Miami, y'all know what I'm talking about. And so I was like, oh man, I just I can't do it. And so what happened was I saved my little monies. I had a little check that was coming in, and I saved the little monies, and I went and got my dad went. At that time, you could go to like Miami Beach, and a lot of times they would have cars on the side of the road that they would be selling for cash. And my dad knew where to go to get these cars. So he went and found me a car, and he paid cash for it because I gave him the money for the cash for the little car. And it was a little Vega. It was white, and it had a green top on the top. But I was happy for it because it was 4-cylinder, meaning it wasn't going to cost me a lot of gas. And also too, it had air conditioning, and you all know that in the South Florida, in that heat, I was happy for that little car. And that car got me through nursing school for that time. And I was so happy because I was like, Lord, I can't be on the bus. But what that turned into a life goal. And for me, that life goal was that I was not going to, if I didn't have to, if I did not have to, I did not want to have to catch the bus. So one of the things that I made a goal to was always to have my own transportation. And after I got out of nursing school, I went and bought a car that was a 6-month lease, a Grand Prix. It was nice. It was gold, and it was a nice car. And from there, I always bought cars. Most of the times, a brand new car. And sometimes myself and my husband, we had 2 cars. So I am a real proponent of how you can set life goals for yourself. And when you set those life goals, how it can turn into it can sort of show how your life is going to be. Because a lot of times you determine in your heart where you want to see your life go. And when you do that and you set that as a goal, and I find out when you write things down, it makes it much more real to you and more of a reality for that thing to well, a lot of people say manifest. I don't necessarily like to use that word, but it do makes it come to pass in your life when you write it down. And then a lot of times what happens is, as you write it down, you start to look for ways for it to happen in your life. And it happens in steps, because sometimes we're waiting for that big thing to happen, but sometimes we have to take baby steps. And I know a lot of people nowadays, especially some of the young people, I see in them that they don't want to take the baby steps that we used to take. When we bought our first home was a one bath home, but I knew that I wasn't planning on staying there. I knew that it was just a home that I was, a starter home. That's all it was. It was just a starter home. But a lot of times you find people nowadays, they don't want to get a starter home. They want to go and get the biggest, their dream home right out the bat. And I'm not saying that some people can't do that. Some people can. But if you're a person that you don't have a whole lot of resources and you don't have a lot of support, or like I say, you have people that support you, they just can't help you. So if they can't help you, you have to now maybe take baby steps. And your first home may have to be a starter home. It may not be the home that you want to end up in, but it may be a home that you can start with to learn how to be a homeowner, because being a homeowner is very different from renting, because every repair that has to be done is on you. Everything that goes wrong with that home is on you. So owning a home or owning a car or owning anything is very different than when you are renting. And so if you are a person that want to set yourself to say, I want to own a home, or I want to own things, own a business, whatever it is that you want to own, a boat. I mean, some people want to own a boat, whatever it is you want to own. I do encourage you that you may have to start small, but that doesn't mean that that's where you're going to end up. That's just your starting place. But I also encourage you to make life goals and long-term goals, because if you want to reach the stars or you have a big dream, start it sitting down, writing those goals. And I want to encourage you also. I have a journal that I recently put out, a goals journal, because I know there's a thing of journaling your thoughts, and a lot of times I'm a proponent of that because I started that very young. And the reason why I did it is because a lot of times as you grow, when you go back and you read some of your earlier journals, you find out that how much you have grown. Because a lot of times when you get in a certain spot and it looks like you're not growing, you have to go back and look at some of those journals and read some of the journals, and you can see, oh boy, I've really grown. I've really, my life has really moved since that time. And it encourages you to realize, oh yes, I did have those dreams and those thoughts and those ideas, because you can actually get lost along the way. And so I encourage people to journal. But this particular journal is specifically about goal journaling, because journaling with goals is very different. It is you setting out, what is it that I really, really want? Because a lot of times we have these vague thoughts about what we want. Yes, I want this and I want that, and I want to see my life do this, and I want to go in this direction. But a lot of times we haven't really sat down and wrote it out. And then in this particular journal, you also sit down and write a plan of how you want to reach that thing. And also, a lot of times, you'll have no idea how to get into whatever it is that you want to do. So the first step in the plan has to be that I want to educate myself about what this is that I think that I want to get into. And that's a lot of times the first step to that goal that you want to, because as you're educating yourself, then you realize, I see a path to me being able to accomplish that. And so a lot of times you'll see that path. And I found that when I went back to school as a later adult, like I said, that when I first got out of high school, I went for my LPN. And then later on, I wanted to become an RN, but it just seemed so out of reach back then. And I had to work hard to get to that goal. And I had to take baby steps as I went along. But also too, it came to a point where I saw a pathway where I could finish. And so that's a part of that goal setting that I'm talking about. When you have a goal and it looks like it's going to take a little bit longer for you to get there, then you break it up into baby steps, but you still keep that goal in front of you, especially if it's something that you really want to accomplish. So I wanted to just encourage those of you that if you are at a point in your life where, yes, you may have accomplished some things, or you might be just starting out. You might be a little baby just starting out. I encourage people, even in high school, I didn't think to do it myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really get serious about my life until probably I was about 19, 20, when I really started to get really serious about my life and what it is that I want to do, and really got on it. And then as I kept going in life, I realized that I had to even get more serious as I went, because I knew that I wanted to be in a certain place by a certain time in my life. So I'm thankful that I did what I did. I wish I've done more. I definitely do. I wish I've done more. I definitely wish I did more. But I'm thankful for what I did do. And so now I'm at a point in my life where I'm semi-retired. Some days I'm like, I might want to go back to work. I'm working on that, but I'm semi-retired, but I have more goals that I do want to reach, and the goals that I want to reach now are very different from the ones that I had in the past. So it is requiring me to, it's stretching me, and it's requiring me to actually have to learn more. And I decided years ago that I was going to become a lifetime learner, because when you make a decision to become a lifetime learner, you open up doors and you open up opportunities to new things to happen in your life. I never want to really get to a place where I'm just comfortable with not learning anything else, not doing anything else, because that means that a lot of times you stop living. And that doesn't mean it has to always be related to work, career, all of those type of things. No, but you want to learn about other things as well to expand your knowledge and your information. And there are some other things that I would like to do in my life. So I'm learning more of how I can find a path to be able to do that. And the only way I know to do that is by goal setting. And in those goal setting is educating myself, learning more about other opportunities of the things that I want to accomplish. And that's how I plan to do it. So I wanted to encourage you to listen to that podcast. It's the Mama Faye Becoming Me podcast, because in essence, becoming is a lifetime journey. And so as I take on this journey to becoming more, I wanted to also encourage you to think about the things that you want to accomplish, yet still to accomplish. Of course, we celebrate where we have accomplished things in our life, but I also want to encourage you to join this journey with me of becoming. Now I've been in this process probably in the year of 2026, but I also am moving forward into next year. I plan to hopefully and do some workshops with others who want to become, have a community where you can be a part of that, so that we can hold each other accountable. And when I say hold each other accountable, I don't mean like, oh, well, you didn't reach your goal, you need to get on it. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about keeping us in, reminding us that, hey, yeah, look back at that goal, take that step. Be encouraged. It's okay. You might have had some setbacks. You might have had some obstacles. You might have a lot of things that's going on in your life that look like it's trying to prevent you from being able to reach a goal or be able to do some of the things that you want to do. But stay with it. Stay consistent, because that's how I've done it before in the past. So I know I have to stay with it, stay consistent, and move forward with those things in my life. So that's what I'm doing. And I want to encourage you to do it as well with me. And together, we're going to have some things that are going to happen. I know also. All right. So I will see you next time.
Are you really ready for this? And you're not even trying to fight for yourself.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't your fault.
So you got to take some action.